Page 89, Song of India. Let's talk about this piece just a little bit. Starting with the right hand, just follow their fingering they've got there at the beginning. I like that. I know it shows it all slurred, but that happens to be this arrangement. Other arrangements would have it slightly and you'd hear the type more. Not that much, but the idea is there, so it doesn't have to be all connected. In this case, the pedal is going to blur all that up anyway, so it's third line down. Take a look at the rhythm just a little bit. It's a 3/4 time, but you got those 16th notes, and the first 16th note is tied from the note in front of it. So it's 1, 2, 3 E and a 1, 2, 3 E and a. If that's bothering you, let's get it, then don't tie the C's. Take that tie out and just play them 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and a type thing. And then when you can get that, you can put the tie back in and tie the C. You think playing it, you just don't play it. You're holding it down. 1, 2, 3, and 1. Now watch those notes because they're not the same. The first one is here and it goes to a B natural, B flat. But on the second measure, it's a B flat. So they're not the same. So watch them, they trick you on that. On page 90, you get a lot of fun going on in the right hand here. And I don't have a lot to suggest to you in the first line, just do it the way they're fingering it. You're starting out down here, and then you're going, it's tied. Again, if the tie bothers you for a bit, just take it out and go ahead and play the 16th notes. 1, 2, E, and 3 E, and 1, all right? And then eventually you can put the tie back in, so it's 1, 2. On the third measure over, you're playing the D with second finger and immediately putting the thumb on it. You're substituting there. The idea is we want fourth finger on the C, and you can't do that very well with second finger on the D, so you put the thumb there so you can reach it. Now in the second line, I'm going to give you a choice here. Finger it the way they've got. You're starting out with thumb. This has an F natural. The problem I have with what they're doing is they're using little finger on that black note, and that can be a bit awkward here. We don't have to do that. There's another way. And that would be at the beginning, you're here. Instead of a 1, 2, 1, do a 1, 2, 3, 1. And put the 1 on the A. Now you're. Then in the next measure, you got to come down and cross over to get the G. Not a problem, I hope. And then 4, and then substitute the thumb for it. And at the end, there's not I don't have a lot to offer there. You're pretty much stuck. Unless you can reach up with your third finger and put the third finger on the C, you could do that if you want. Third line down, again, do what they're telling you to do. It's fine. It's not the most convenient, but neither is anything else. This music isn't piano music, it's an orchestra music, and this is just a piano arrangement. Doesn't fit the fingers real well, as we say. So there, the rest of this, do fingering as they're showing you to finger it is fine in the right hand. For the left hand on page 89, I do have some suggestions here. At the beginning of this, they're saying 5-5. You're asking for trouble, I think, if you do it that way. I would suggest, and this is really common in piano, you're going to get this a lot as you go through. This type of pattern, the fingering you would typically use would be a 5, 3, 1. Now to do all of these in one shot, you're stretching quite a bit. The hand may not be that big. Doesn't matter. The hand doesn't have to be that big, because you're not going to cover all 3 of these notes at the same time. It's just one note, and you're kind of rolling the hand with the notes. So I'm down here, hand's down here, and then the third finger's here. I move the hand in this area, and then when I get the top one, now I'm kind of in this area. So I'm moving the hand down, it's more like this wrist than this. Don't do this. How can you see that? Don't do this if you can help it. Do this more. So I'm rolling more this way, and I can get all of these quite nicely. That's much safer than what they're saying. And third measure over, once you get it, for the C sharp, fourth finger's fine, or third finger too. Because when you get the D's in this, use second finger. Or E flat, so in the second line, second measure, I'm going to use second finger on the D. And it makes it much easier to play that left hand. You don't have to move the hand around. Even though the pedal's down, this is much better. This is a fairly smooth legato piece, so you don't want a lot of jumping. This pattern in the left hand goes throughout, so once you get the idea, you're all set for the left hand. Now for the pedal. Again, they're getting lazy in my opinion. At the first line on page 89, over in the third measure for the pedal, they have a ped simile, which means continue to pedal the way you did the first couple of measures. Which means you're going to do a legato pedal and change it on every measure. I don't like that. I'd like to make a few suggestions. The beginning is fine, the way they're doing it. So I'm going to push the note down, then I'm going to push the pedal down, and then when I go to change it at the next measure, I'm going to push the note down first, and then I'm going to lift the pedal up and put it right back down. I suggest when you get measures like the third measure over, change the pedal with each beat so it's not so blurred. It shouldn't be blurred. So the first line I would pedal this way. So I would pedal it on the measure that's changing like that pretty much with each beat. And the first measure, the second line, again with each beat. Because this isn't intended to be real blurry, it's just intended to be smooth. Now when you get to the third line here, I would lift the pedal up with the right hand 16th note. When you play the B natural, or whatever note is there, in the right hand 16ths, I'd lift the pedal up right there. And the last measure of the third line, I'd lift the pedal up with the right hand so we have a silence in the right hand. Keep the pedal down through the whole thing. It's a little more complicated pedaling, but if you can play music like this, you ought to be able to handle it, I think. Now for page 90, I recommend pedaling the first two beats of the measure when you have these runs, and then lift up on the third beat. It starts out a little blurry and then it clears up, and that's an effect. Same thing. And then in the third line again, when you get these 16th notes, I'd lift the pedal up so we can hear them. Now in the last two measures of the third line, you keep the pedal down all the way across. When you get, the harmony isn't changing, nothing's going on. And keep that same style of pedaling going throughout. Over on page 91 at the end is like at the beginning on page 89. It was just pedal on each beat. Each time you're changing the harmony in the left hand like that, change the pedal. Then at the end they finally tell you the last line, legato throughout, just change it at the measure. fermata at the end, 2 counts instead of 1, and on that rolled chord I'm going to play the C with the left hand F, like so. Let's do this really slowly. Now we're going to do page 89 first. Then we're going to turn the page, I'm going to count us in again, and we'll do pages 90 and 91 slowly. We want to get the rhythms and the notes and all that junk. 3/4 time will give us 3 counts, and we are going to take the repeats. So left hand starts, right hand's here, foot's on the pedal. 1 and ready and go and. Go ahead, turn the page. It was 3 counts, and we'll play these 2 pages. 1, ready and go and.